interior designing as a career option has emerged as one of the favored ones in the last couple of years. People are actually thinking, how can they make their homes a little more better and little more personalized? To understand the hows and the whens and the skills required to do this, we have one of the biggest celebrity interior designer, Richa Bahl, with us today. Richa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Before we start with the overall journey of how, when, the skills required, etc., let me ask, how did you start into interior designing?
It found me, and as I started in my life, like most of us, when we are in college, we really don't know what we want to do, and you choose a profession because you need to kickstart your life. And I happened to start my career life with advertising, and somewhere I knew my heart was not really in advertising, and it was good. I worked with really good agencies, I worked with really good teams, I learned a lot, but somewhere parallelly I used to keep getting attracted to this world of architecture and design, and I used to do a lot of pro bono. At that point, of course, it wasn't a pro bono, but it was like a side thing, but somebody needed help to set up their house, or somebody wanted to set up a small office, and I would kind of be helping them out, be in the background. And then I started designing my own house when we bought our own house, and it started with that, and that's when I tasted blood, and then I realized this is what I want to do. And there was a time when I said, this is it, I'm not going to go back to advertising, and I'm going to start this as a professional, as a serious career for myself. And it snowballed into this great journey, and it's been so much fun, and I love it.
Okay. You know, we did a research recently with around 3,000 Indians, millennials basically, asking them, do you make space for your passion? And around 68% of them came back and they said, no, we don't. So we asked them what are the reasons, and they said 3 key reasons for this. One is the work-life balance. Second is the family itself. You have family responsibilities. And third was money and time, which we thought would be the first thing to crop up. Which makes us think again, and we say, how did you make space for passion? Because it was a very difficult choice, moving from a creative agency, setting up your own, becoming an entrepreneur. How did you decide that?
I think everyone goes through this phase of turmoil of what they're doing and how much are they enjoying of what they're doing, and there is a calling in you, and it's like a struggle phase which you go through, and then you really want to be like, for me at least, there were times I would take a lot of breaks in between my advertising career, where because I was just not happy with what I was doing. And I think world today is so much more easier compared to say about like 15 years back, where today you can actually choose an option of specialization and you can get into that. You know, you can actually pursue and see yourself fitting, picking some particular thing out of it and doing it. So if you kind of come to a stage like that and you really realize that these are the things which you are really going to pursue in life, and you're going to make yourself that becomes your goal, then you start working towards it, you know, and it kind of, it also then helps you focus and do more to work towards it. Whether it's like you're trying to do something in that field in some certain way, or you read up about it, or you go and study around it. So it kind of starts working around you as well. But I think it's also very important to realize that this is what you want to do. And if that's what you want to do, then you will make sure that you reach the end somehow.
That's an interesting choice of, you know, career that you took. But if you look at 5-7 years back, people did not even think of interior designing as a very credible kind of an career choice. People had doctors, typical Indian career options that you have. Was it difficult to convince your family, or did you have to even discuss with them?
No, not really. Because I think I'd spent like good 6-7 years in advertising already, and I kind of had my own sense of really what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And of course, it's not as a option where there is a guaranteed job waiting for you,
Yeah.
like compared to, like you said, these set professions. But it's something which you have to build, something which you have to really work hard. It's a very hard profession. For that matter, I think all professions require a lot of hard work, but especially because it's too much detailing and there is too much execution, there's so much see-through. So it's like and ultimately when you do also something for a client, then it's like a very long-term relationship. It's not something when you finish something and you leave, you know.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of legs here and there and hands everywhere. So you're kind of on a balancing boat most of the times. But I guess it's something which, when you love something, then you don't think twice. You just jump in, you know. And
I agree. And the reason I asked you specifically was when I looked at the answers that people were giving, I also realized maybe few of them attempt to make a jump towards their profession, but the moment they see a hurdle, they move back. People remember you as a celebrity, you know, interior designer, you are successful these days, but they don't know the kind of trouble or the kind of hurdles you would have faced. What's your solution to them? What's your suggestion to them?
My suggestion is, I mean, it's so good today. You know, like I said, it's so much better that today you can pick something, you can study it, you can really make a market out of it. And of course, you have to be talented, and and there is no shortcut to hard work. And you cannot be you cannot like think, oh my God, what's gonna happen, and not jump in. You have to jump in, and you have to like swim, and you have to reach the other end. Okay, so there's nothing easy, but if you love something, and if you truly is going to give you satisfaction, and you got to make it, and you have to make sure that you work hard towards it. Because if you're going to start with a point of apprehension, and if you're going to start with a point of a lot of what ifs, look at what's happening in the world today.
True.
I mean, it's everywhere there is something happening. True. So it's you got to make things for yourself, and ultimately it's about your satisfaction. So my advice is, if there is a calling in you, and there is something which is it's a feeling which I've gone through myself. You feel very restless with what you do because you're not happy with what you're doing. But if you know what your calling is and you think you can work towards it, don't think twice, just jump in. It's going to fall in place. And you'll have to work hard, of course.
Let's say. But were there any times when you said, did I make a wrong decision? Do I need to relook at it?
No. So there was a period of time where I was apprehensive that, is this the right choice? But the feeling of satisfaction of like doing something even small, creating a space, helping someone out and getting the satisfaction out of it, these are the feelings which just make you feel very good about the fact that yes, it's something which you want to do. They assure you more than anything else. So there was a time when I went through this period where I was like, why would anybody want to come to me? I've come from an advertising background, I've not gone to an architecture school. It's ironic that my roommate were architecture students. Today they are not practicing and I'm practicing their profession. And I remember their room used to be open 24 hours because they were like slogging all through the day. They would go to their college, they would eat, they would nap, and the room would be open all night because they had submissions. And I remember they used to make these hospital plans, school plans, and then we would all take help with them. They would like stick our trees, we would stick trees for them, So you never know where the connections
started.
Yeah, that inclinations and where the connections come from. But it's funny how where it takes you. So, but it's just the apprehension of, will it turn into something which is going to be a happy experience? And that's where I started. I purely started from that point of view. I did not do any business analysis. I did not look at it saying, how it's going to like take me into some kind of ambitious path or anything. It came from a point where you want to do something which makes you feel good.
True.
And you enjoy doing it, because in this profession, if you really don't love and you don't come from a passionate space, it's not a functional space. It's a mix of a lot of things. It's aesthetics, it's materials, it's execution, it's seeing it through till the end, adding the small details. So it's a lot of things thrown in together, and I guess you'll only enjoy it when you really enjoy each part of the process. You know, sometimes you have to go and clean your sites yourself, which is great. I mean, I'm ready to do that too, because you're so involved and so passionate about what you do.
You got a lot of good press when you did Alia's home recently.
Yes.
But
it's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years. People still talk about it. So, how do you look at it when people tell you that you're a celebrity, you know, interior designer? Do you look from the perspective that it has to be, my customer has to be, or my client has to be a celebrity, and there's a certain, you know, thought process involved? Or do you also look at all clients are similar? I am an interior designer.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's end of the day, they're all my clients, and I have a lot of non-celeb clients who are also very dear to me, and they have amazing homes and they're very happy, and I'm very happy doing work with them, and I like to treat everyone as an equal client. And the requirements are a little different, because everyone has their own way of, whether it's a celeb or it's a non-celeb, you know, everyone has their needs and everybody wants their home in a certain way. And it's also exciting for me, because then I'm also not doing a type of work, you know. I love doing, like, I've done a shipping office, which was so much fun. I've done Universal Music Office, which is another extreme, you know. So it's also interesting as a designer for you to get these different kind of stuff. But I've been lucky, because I guess I began in advertising and I have a lot of media circles. So what happens is that the kind of clientele I get a lot of clientele from entertainment industry, from media industry, and because it's from there, the kind of people, they're different, you know, they're slightly more out of the box. They like unconventional things. They've done same kind of traveling which you have done. So the tastes are similar, you know. So they understand the aesthetics you are kind of going to do for them. So then it becomes easier and more interesting to work for them. So that's the advantage, or you know, or you could say that's something which has worked for me. So it's been easy to do these homes and work with clientele like this.
Because they have a certain idea that this is how my personality is, you need to you know, give something on this.
Yes.
But does it become a little more difficult when you go to a different client, like, you know, us? Because we might not exactly understand what our personality or what our likes are, but we just say mera wala green types, as we say. But what is that? We can't define it. Does that make it more challenging as in?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of clients who've come to me because, like you said, you know, people come to you with a name, but they also, I think people also sometimes are very clear why they want to do is because they click with you. And along with my touches, I also, like you said, I also like to bring in people's personality. End of the day, it's their house and it's their space. Their perspective and their personality needs to get reflected and translated through me in the house somehow. So I always make that effort, and that's why I don't like to do like all homes looking same as well. But sometimes you get clients who are not sure of what they want, but they want you because they've heard or they've seen something and they want that translated for them. And it is usually a very confused space, because then it's a long process for me to kind of get them on board as to what we should do, which will be matching to them, which will get their character and my character in.
And sometimes you have to convince them also. This is maybe what.
So those clients are a little exhausting, but once you finish things, then they understand your perspective, you know, or when they start seeing result, they start understanding, okay, this is what you meant, and this is not, and we don't need to copy from what has been done for someone else, you know. So because in our country, I think our mentality is someone's done something, then everybody wants to run and do the same thing. You know, so it's a little uphill task to kind of tell that you are your own and let's do something for you, and that was for somebody else, and let's just leave that for them.
So,
you know,
when you look at these homes, have there been really glaring design errors that you have spotted and you said, my God, who designed this? Who could even think about this?
Usually, I usually get homes which are like, which need to be like fixed from A to Z, which are either crumbling structures or, you know, they've been like not been done for years. So I've done a couple of bungalows who've been not been done up since 1980s.
Oh, wow.
Or structures which have been shut for like 30 years and then reopened. So I don't know, it's
a clean slate for you to start
it's
from.
my kismat that I get places like these. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of people today are very conscious about the space they want to live in, and which is great for us, and it kind of helps them to, it helps us to kind of then get inside and really change a lot of things. So that attitude is changing, that of, you know, living as you were. People are getting more conscious, people are ready to spend or are more open to living in a more interesting way or in a more organized fashion. So that kind of works, but what they've done in the past really can't comment. Then, you know, you get on board and your only job is to, you know, transform it for them. So it becomes like a happy and lovely place for them.
The reason I asked you this is I did a couple of research that Interio usually does. So I was going through it and I found really weird kitchens which have been designed where you feel like you have to stretch yourself out. It's like a yoga happening in the kitchen itself if you have to reach out. And they were really small design mistakes, and I thought, why doesn't a designer or even a person who is designing the space thinking about the comfort of the person? And it's very Indian to see that we need a lot of space, whether it's shelf space or cupboards.
We are hoarders, we just need, we are hoarders.
So how do you cut that? Because that's one of the things that most interior designers say.
I make them chuck a lot of things. I'm quite a bully. So I just, because see, also what happens is when you start doing a space for anyone, it's a long process where you go through a lot of things with them, you know. You're almost married to them, but then after the job gets over, then we go separate ways. So it's a great marriage and we still be in touch, but we don't have to live with each other all the time. But it's like, but what I mean is that you have to really go through each step, whether it's organizing their lives, whether it's their wardrobes, whether it's their utility spaces, whether it's their living spaces, whether it's their reading spaces. So you really step by step start eliminating, start creating, or start collecting things which you think are going to move towards the direction you want to do. So it's a lot of hand-holding process which we go through. And I think by the time you finish the house, you kind of talk to each other so much that you kind of know so much about each other's life. You practically know what's getting cooked in each other's kitchens, you know, because it becomes that
granularity is important.
becomes like that. So it's a process which takes on its own course, and I mean, you really land up throwing a lot of things, you land up collecting a lot of things, because see, also you need to, as per the shape of the space and as per what you're designing, a lot of times you need to add things and a lot of times you need to delete things. So also a lot of past experiences help with their usage of their space. So you kind of take that experience and you apply it there.
But isn't it a tussle to, you know, tell the leading homemaker that, boss, you have to cut this out, you don't need it? Is there a fight that finally happens, this one I'll keep, memories?
Like I said, it's a marriage. So
you have to come
you
on
listen.
And then you do what you want.
No, one is a doer and one is a dominating person. No, jokes apart, I mean, when people see reason and then they see a logic and they know that someone's recommending something and it's going to only make it better for them, then they come on board with you. You know, usually when you start a home, people are like very opinionated and they're very, they want to voice a lot of opinions, they want to give a lot of suggestions, but then as the process goes and they see what all goes in it and what are the reasons why we are recommending what they back off. and then they let you take over. And in the end, of course, when everything happens, and they're happy with it. So,
You know, if you look at the house, there's one thing that we don't enough credit to. There are spaces which are built within the house, which have certain personality. For instance, earlier it was a ritual to, you know, sit around a dining table and have dinner together.
yes,
Nowadays, sometimes it's not possible
yes,
due to paucity of time, work, whatever it is. So you might be sitting around a couch and you might be eating together, or you might be binge watching while you are eating.
yes.
So when, as a designer comes in, he has to understand that lifestyle also and blend it in.
Absolutely.
So is there a certain tip or trick that people need to see? Because you see a lot of lifestyle changes around
Yes.
you, that this is something you need to see before you go to an interior designer.
No, absolutely. And you said it bang on. If you're not going to understand who you're designing for, then the space is never going to turn up the way it should be. One is a functionality aspect, which is how you use your space. You know, sometimes you have a family with small kids. Sometimes you have a family where even the grandparents are living with you, and their kids, and there's the couple. Sometimes it's just a single person using the space. Sometimes it's just a couple using the space. So sometimes the kind of offices we do, you know, like from film production to advertising to a music industry, it's everyone has a different need, and you need to understand. So the biggest tip is understand who you're designing for, and that should be a starting point. And that will give you a lot of shoot-offs of what are the do's and what are the don'ts. And that's the first step. You know, make it anything look aesthetically beautiful is the second step, and it's not the most difficult step. But this of how you design the space, functionality, how do you do the layout, how do you open up spaces. A lot of times when you see spaces and you see how badly the light has been blocked, and especially in a city like Bombay, you know, getting light in your
Sunlight,
your space is such a big wow for us, because we live in a city. Real estate is very different. The geography of our city is very different. You know, our lives are very different. So it changes. So it's very important. And the minute you shift one wall also to open up and make this space turn into maybe it's a dual space usage, it makes a big difference.
And when we speak about, you know, homes and all, when you're designing it, many people look at, this is my pet peeve with people, even my wife does this a lot, they will go on to internet, they will figure out some really beautifully done homes, maybe European homes and all, and they say, this is what I want. How important is the Indianness of design when you're designing homes in India?
I think I think we should not forget who we are. And having said that, it's again a very taste-oriented thing. You know, a lot of people want to not do something which is too Indian, and a lot of people like a lot of mix. That's why I said, you know, the kind of crowd and the kind of clients you have who have like this sense of bringing the both world together, then it kind of makes it more easier to design when they understand that the both sensibilities should meet. It should not just be a kind of look, especially for me. I mean, there are many people who love designing a certain kind, and they specialize in that and they're happy with that. But the joy for me comes when I merge this together, and I think there's so much in our country, like from our little carvings to our art to our fabric and you know, you can style it so interestingly. You can have a modern space, but you can have lovely ikat fabrics in it.
Even the material that
you know,
look at.
yeah. And actually, if you look at a lot of foreign brands, they pick up such beautiful things from our country and they modernize it. And you know, and we're like, but that was part of my country. Why did I use it? You know, so I think it's very, very important to bring the two together. And not forget who you are. It could be like a floor element, it could be a design element, it could be a fabric you use. You know, there's so many ways in way to bring your country in, you know.
Coming back to the whole research that we did, you said designing is a lot of work, and you are always in that zone where you're thinking about design, how should I do, etc. And it's a lot of work. Do you get enough time to, balance your own life? Do you get that balance at all?
Yeah, good question. I'm having a lot of balance issues right now. No, it's just what happens is you get so caught up and life is so busy, and Bombay is a city, all of us are busy, it's not just me. All of us are leading a busy life. It's just that your own priorities take a step back, and my house really needs a big uplifting, big time, and I've had no
And you
time.
have not done it.
I have no time. And by the time I reach home, I'm like, I don't want to look at the fabric. I don't want to look at the floor right now. So it becomes, it's like an occupation hazard. So
Yeah, true.
you get stuck with it, but no choice. The things which you have to do. So yeah.
And when you design for other customers, you look at, their personality, their me space and all. Is there a place at your home which you have carved into, this is my space, I'll sit here and I'll think about
Yeah,
stuff?
I have 2-3 my favorite spaces in my house, which are like, I know when I have like a crazy week and I'm gonna end up on the weekend there. I have my minds on it. I have a lot of greenery near my house. I have this green corner which I just love. It just completely relaxes me, it de-stresses me, and I like to bring in a lot of greens for people also, because it just feels that way. My den is my favorite space.
You call it the den?
I call it the den, is where my books are, where my big TV is, where my favorite couch is, and that's the unwinding part.
Zone for you.
Yeah, and then I have a place where I like to sit and have my morning tea. So yeah, I have like 2-3 places which I love. And in fact, it's a great question, because when I do a house over for someone, I always make sure that I give them spaces which becomes their favorite corner. And everybody tells me, whether it's the bar they chill at, or whether it's the dining table they hang at, or it's again one place where they sit in the morning and have their morning chai and read the newspaper. Because these are little small things. These are the reasons why you live in your space, because you need to use your space and they give you happiness. So yeah.
Okay.
It's big on my agenda to give those people.
So it's part of your bucket list.
Yes.
Okay, so one curveball to you. So in case you weren't into interior designing, what profession would you have chosen apart from creative?
I think I would have got into some kind of classical music, because I just love classical music. I used to play sitar. I was learning, but then work has taken over and taken a back seat, but it's one of my aims to get back to it.
Another one on the bucket list?
Yeah, another one on the bucket list. For sure, I definitely would want to do some kind of classical music instrument. Again, something which I've grown up listening in my family, very musical. My mom's mother's side, they're very like, they would like sing songs on the harmonium. And we would have these, and I'm an army child, every summers we would go and we would have performances nights. So, and we would really like do proper singing sessions and music sessions, and I've seen that growing up. Then I was studying in Pune, I had the sitar class under my house, where morning to evening, I used to wake up to listening to sitar in the morning. It is so beautiful and relaxing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's on my, I've really gone on talking about the sitar, but clearly makes me realize I need to get back to it.
Which also makes me realize that we need to hear you perform someday. We get
I have
the chance.
to practice lots.
We'll make a chance for that. Okay, so moving on to the rapid fire kind of rounds, where we understand one phrase, one word, which comes to your mind. Let's see.
Okay.
We'll relax this a bit. So one guilty pleasure that you still follow?
Oh, my habit of eating too many sweets.
Okay. One secret talent that you have. You mentioned sitar, but if there are more.
I'm a good sports person. I've always been big on athletes in school, and it waded off in college. But yeah, it's something which everybody tells me that, oh, you did that exercise so well and you can do that well. So I think.
One piece of accessory or furniture that you think I can't do without. That's always there in your list when you're designing stuff. This has to be there.
A nice lounge chair. It has to be there. It's like there has to be one comfy seating where you can just put your feet up and just like be in it. So I have like a long love seat in my own house, and I love to just roll on it and like lie down in it by the end of the day, and just feel very relaxed in it.
If I'm not working, what would I be doing?
I would be doing a lot of things. I would be definitely doing, I want to do so much. I want to paint, I want to do my music, I want to travel. I have so many errands to do, I have so many people to catch up with.
Yeah.
I would do lots.
Okay. One place where you think, one place at your home, where you think friends, it's a friend zone. You spoke about your zone, friend zone.
I have a little space outside. I have my building has that parking podium which I've got like a small mini sit out kind of a space, and so it's like a standard space. When my friends come, we all are parked there and we're there for hours. So and it's lovely and breezy and it's green, and especially in this weather right now, it's like the perfect place. We do barbecues there. And yeah, so it's like, it's the place where my friends love to come and hang. And I think automatically whoever comes, I think my living room is never used. We just straight away head to outside.
Okay. One mistake that, you know, irks you, designing mistake that irks you and you feel this should be corrected?
Sometimes a lot of things go wrong on the site, okay, and then a lot then goes back. It's literally like saying na ek jhoot bolne ke liye 100 jhoot bolne padte hain. It's literally like that, you know. You make one mistake, then you have to really go back those 20 steps to fix that mistake. So when that mistake happens, it's like something is stuck in your throat, especially if you're a perfectionist. So it's part of our job. These things happen because you cannot control so much, but they do happen, and the various kinds which happen, and you have just to make sure that you have to fix them.
One sleep, you know, rule that you have, for instance, people say sleep at 10.
Yeah.
So what is your one sleep rule that you follow, sleep regime, let's say?
I think by the time I finish my day, I'm pretty exhausted. So I make sure that I unwind before I crash, you know, whether it's my ritual of reading a little bit of music or watching something which relaxes me. I do that before I like jump into the bed. I make sure I make like a small job list also before I sleep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
For the next day.
For the next day.
You
so
are
then
a perfectionist.
so then I wake up and then I jump into my day. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't help it. You have to be like that.
Last two questions. One project that you thought, if I would have done that.
Yes.
Not necessarily Indian, it can be an international one.
Yeah, I think they did a couple of projects which I could not take on last year because I was just too busy. There was a very close friend's opportunity to do up a bar in New York, which just didn't come to me. And then it's gone to another dear friend who's done it up, but it's something which I feel really bad about, and I'm like, I should have just done it. Why didn't I just do it? And you know, it's sometimes you just get so stuck because you have to make right decisions, you have to take the right steps, you have to do justice to what is in your hand. You don't know what you're doing is correct or not. It's just that later on when the penny drops in your head, you look back and you look at things. But I guess that's life. You cannot have everything, and you can't always make right decisions. So
Absolutely.
just go with the flow.
Okay, and my final question to you would be, is there a one mantra that Richa Bahl follows whenever she is looking at a space?
I think, I don't know if I have a mantra as such, but I definitely get a lot of vibes when I go to a place, and then you kind of get a sense of whether it's the light, whether it's the things around it, or the history of the place. You know, it starts giving you some kind of a sense of what the place should finally be, and also you get a lot of positive vibes when you go to a place. Like people do a lot of vastu, but I believe in positive energy. And I think a space really gives you energies, and I think I'm good at reading energies, and I feel good, and I feel instantly a little mixed feeling when I see some spaces. So it's more of a sixth sense.
I was
than
going
a
to say
mantra.
that. So that's your secret skill
and,
also.
And usually when I tell somebody that, listen, I think I'm not really getting a good vibe about that place. Either their deal will not go through, or it's kind of happened like that. It's happened many times like that, because I just have that, I think, sense about the energy of a place.
Brilliant. Thank you, Richa. It was wonderful having a conversation with you. We got a lot of interesting conversation.
Thank you so much. I hope it was helpful. I hope it's useful for people who are watching this, and they can do much more with it. So
absolutely,
I'll be happy with that.
It's a great time we had here. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning into this.
Watch How I Make Space for Life. Look forward to Godrej L'Affaire. Hope to see you there. It should be good fun.